In the years following the Roswell incident, in the late 1940s to early 1950s, the USA saw an explosion of reported UFO and extraterrestrial encounters. But few encounters has achieved as much fame and infamy as the one that took place in the city of Flatwoods located in Braxton County, West Virginia. On September 12, 1952, at 7:15 p.m., two brothers, 13-year-old Edward and his 12-year-old brother Fred May, along with their 10-year-old friend Tommy Heyer, witnessed a bright object across the sky. The object appeared to come to rest on a land belonging to local farmer Bailey Fisher. After witnessing this object, the boys went to the home of the Mays brothers' mother, Kathleen May, where they reported seeing a UFO crash land in the hills. From there, Miss Mays, accompanied by three more local boys, Neil Nunley, age 14, and Rodney Shaver, age 10, as well as an 18-year-old West Virginia National Guardsman, Eugene Lemon, with his dog, traveled to the Fisher farm to locate whatever it was the boys had seen. As they were climbing the hill where the object was seen, Lemon's dog ran ahead out of sight and started barking. Moments later, it ran back to the group with its tail between its legs and would not ascend the hill any further. Upon reaching the top of the hill themselves, they reported seeing a large pulsating ball of fire about 50 feet away. They also saw and smelled a mist that made their eyes, throat, and nose burn. Lemon then noticed two small lights to the left of the object and directed his flashlight towards it, thinking they were the glowing eyes of an animal like a raccoon or bobcat. However, the flashlight revealed a far more terrifying creature, which was reported to have emitted a shrill hissing noise before gliding towards them. The group then fled in panic, Kathleen May getting a dark oily substance sprayed on her by the monster. The creature didn't chase them far before changing directions, then heading back towards the red light on the top of the hill. The entity was initially reported as being between 10 to 15 foot tall and 4 foot wide. It had a cylindrical shaped body that appeared to be some sort of robotic suit or spacecraft rather than organic being. The body seemed to be armored structure lined with thick vertical pipes. Discrepancies exist in the actual color of the armor, some claiming it to be black while others say it was green. The existence of arm is also debated. Most state that the monster was armless, while others claimed it possessed small toy-like antenna arms. But all witnesses agreed it had a cowl in the shape of the ace of spades behind a red round head. Set in the head were two eyes described as portholes, glowing green-orange, and the size of a silver dollar. Upon returning home, Miss May contacted local Sheriff Robert Carr and Mr. A. Lee Stewart, co-owner of the Braxton Democrat, a local newspaper. Stewart conducted several interviews of the multiple eyewitnesses of the event and returned to the site with Lemon later that night, where he reported there was a sickening burnt metallic odor still prevailing. Sheriff Carr and his deputy Burnell Long searched the area separate but reported finding no trace of the encounter. A few of the witnesses ended up seeking medical attention from the swelling of their throats from the toxic mist breathed in during the encounter, with the physician who treated them saying the symptoms were like those exposed to mustard gas would experience. Over the next few weeks, a media frenzy occurred, with witnesses giving several interviews and making sketches of the creature, which led to many more eyewitnesses, including a member of the school board, to come forward about witnessing the same object flying through the sky that night. A few days after the sighting, two men dressed in black suits showed up to the May household and asked to be taken to the crash site. Upon taking them to it, one of the men went down to investigate further while the other escorted Miss May away. The man that investigated the site came back covered in the same dark oily substance that had gotten on Miss May during the experience with the cryptid. Some believe the two were part of the infamous Men in Black. Most of the witnesses have passed away now and never changed their story. The surviving witnesses, likewise, have stuck by the story they gave over 60 years ago. Which that, combined with the extraterrestrials' iconic appearance, made this one of the most fascinating cases I've ever came across. Descriptions of aliens vary widely, but this one takes the cake as one of the more bizarre looking ones that there is. But let's get into the theories on what really took place that night in a small Appalachian town in the 1950s. The first theory is that they stumbled upon an alien spaceship that had landed for some reason, possibly not intentionally, before an emergency stop. In this theory, the Flatwood monster could have been an alien in a defensive suit, or it could have been some type of robot whose purpose was to guard the downed spacecraft while repairs are being made. It could explain the toxic mist maybe being used to deter anyone from getting too close, as well as the monster chasing them away but not wanting to get too far away from the landing site. The second theory is that the witnesses were just chased by a large barn owl that night and was mistaken in what they had seen. Though it seemed like a stretch to mistake a barn owl for what they described, hysteria and fear can make people imagine all sorts of crazy things. It can also distort memory so much so that the witnesses could genuinely believe they experienced something that they didn't. Hysteria can also cause physical reactions, much like they had, though they attributed it to the toxic mist that they ran through. Though this explanation doesn't explain the others who said they saw the UFO that night, which brings me to the final theory. The whole encounter was a hoax made up by all the boys and Kathleen May, as well as all who came forward with seeing a UFO that night, being mistaken or flat out lying in an attempt to substantiate the others' lie. I find this hard to believe based on the number of witnesses, or that none of them ever came forward in adulthood that it was a hoax, still to this day over 60 years later. Let me know what you think the Flatwoods monster really was, an alien, an owl, a hoax, or something else in the comments. Also, thank you to all my subscribers, new and old. I was able to hit my 600 sub goal that I had for 2023. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd love for you to. Thank you.